Let's turn to South Australia. We'll be joined by the Premier, Malinauskas, in just a moment. First, though, the property developer and philanthropist Lang Walker has died at the age of 78. The billionaire businessman co-founded Walker Corp with his father and was responsible for some of the country's most successful building developments. His property empire included more than 1,000 projects in Australia and moved into global development in Singapore and Malaysia. He's survived by his wife Sue, 3 children and 10 grandchildren. Let's go live now to the South Australian Premier, Peter Malinauskas. And Lang Walker, remembered right around the nation, but you too paying tribute to him for his contribution to your home city and state, Premier.
Kieran, Lang Walker was a great Australian, and he certainly left his mark on South Australia in a wholly positive way. We've got one of the biggest land developments in terms of housing happening in the northern suburbs of our state at the moment, thanks to Lang's innovation and leadership, and we've also seen significant developments within our CBD that have only happened because Walker Corp was willing to take a risk. And my government is keen to continue to work with Walker Corp into the future. They're tough to negotiate with, and that's the way it should be. But what we saw was a genuine commitment to innovation and doing things a little bit differently that required a bit of vision and a bit of courage. And I think that's to Lang's great credit, and his legacy will be a really proud one for his family.
It's a legacy that will be felt for generations to come, absolutely. Let's look at a few other different issues. I know you're busy today, but I do want to ask you about the story that's emerged the last few days about Live Golf Adelaide. It was a massive success in your home state, a bit of a gamble by you to get on board with Live Golf, but I noticed that tickets are back on sale and selling very quickly for the next iteration. You must be looking forward to that.
Yeah, look, it was a big success, and it didn't come without a degree of controversy, Kieran, but the simple reality is that the Australian public have been denied high-quality golf tournaments for decades, and they want to see the world's best golfers in a nation that loves the sport. And that was our calculation, and it was a great success, and we saw hordes of tourists come from across other states to be able to experience it in Adelaide, and they had a great time. So we would love that to continue in the future. It's something that has underpinned a bit of economic activity, which is our main motivation for the effort, and long may that continue.
Yeah, well, it would be good if you can establish a long-running arrangement, particularly once that truce is achieved between the Saudi-backed Live and the US PGA. Is that something that you're hoping and planning for?
The short answer is we want to discuss that with Liv, and we're certainly open and keen to do it at the, on the right price. I mean, we're not going to spend money unless we're sure it's going to deliver an appropriate economic return to the state. But certainly, the potential of Liv coming together with the PGA is a good thing. We're monitoring it from afar. Our teams are in discussions with theirs, and we continue to collaborate and negotiate. But we've got a deal for the next few years that has us locked in, and I hope as many people as possible come across and enjoy it, because I've got to say, it was an extraordinary event. They put on a great show.
Yep, and I know golf fans around the nation loved it. Just finally, the Stage 3 tax changes, a broken promise, always difficult for a politician of any stripe, state, federal or whatever. Do you think this is going to be well received by South Australians? Does it take a bit of bark off the Prime Minister along the way, though?
Well, what we know is that more South Australians are going to have more money in their pocket. And in the middle of a cost of living crisis, from my perspective, in a pure policy sense, not a political one, in a pure policy sense, if there are more South Australians who have got the capacity to be able to confront the inflation challenge with more of their own money in their pockets, that's a good thing. And look, the statutory tax cuts have had a degree of controversy attached to them the whole way through, and I'm sure that this debate will continue on. But in reality, South Australians, thousands of South Australians are going to be the beneficiaries of this tax cut. I mean, in my view, and I've spoken about this publicly over the last few weeks, Kieran, my view is that as a country we do disproportionately tax income more. That isn't a good thing. And the very thing we want to encourage people to do the most is work hard. We say it all the time, work hard. Well, if people want to work hard, They shouldn't have a disproportionate amount of their money going to tax in comparison to other countries around the world where it can be adjusted for, and that's particularly true for the middle class. So this will be rolled out in due course, provided it gets through the Parliament, and there'll be a lot of South Australians who'll be grateful for it, I'm sure.
South Australian Premier Peter Malinauskas, appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kieran.